students, welcome back. We're going to keep looking at algebraic expressions, and today we're going to look at adding two expressions together or subtracting. Now this is going to be similar to our combining like terms that we talked about earlier, but there's going to be a few things that we need to pay attention to, particularly parentheses, and so we're going to focus on that. So again, when we're looking at our expression, the first thing we want to do is look and see, can it be simplified? Do we need to distribute, or are we ready to combine terms? If we do not have any parentheses, we're ready to combine terms together. So in this first problem, we've got 4q, and I'm looking to see if there's any other terms that also have the letter q, and I have one right here. Now notice that this does not have a coefficient. There's no number in front. And so that means that we only have one q. If there's not a number in front, it just means that we only have one of them. So this is 4q minus 1q. So imagine 4 q's sitting on the table. If I take one of them away, I have 3 q's left. Now looking at example B, we can see that it's changed slightly. We can now see that there's parentheses in here. And so anytime you see parentheses, you need to slow down. You need to stop and think, why are those there? So these are here because they're telling us that we have our first expression, 5c plus 8, and we're adding another expression to it. Now with adding, we don't run into as much trouble as we'll see that we have with subtraction. So with adding, the parentheses, they're there, but they're not really necessary. So you can go ahead, if it's addition, and you can go ahead and drop them. So this just becomes 5c plus 8 plus 4c. We keep the subtraction, minus 2 minus c. Now I'm going to box all the terms that have a c. So notice when I box the 4c, I include the plus sign. That way my brain doesn't forget that that's a positive 4. When I box this c over here, I box the negative. And then if it helps you, you might even want to write in a 1, just so you know you only have one of them. So I have 5c plus 4c is 9c, and then I'm taking 1c away. So 9c minus 1c is 8c. All right, now I'm going to look at my constants. I have a positive 8 and a negative 2. So 8 and negative 2 is positive 6. And that's as far as we can go because this is a variable term and the 6 is a constant. We cannot combine a variable term with a constant. So that's as far as we could go. Now let's see what happens when we change the addition sign to subtraction. So again, anytime there's parentheses, you need to stop and think, why are those there? Well, in this case, they're there because that negative is going to be distributed to every single term inside the parentheses. So there's nothing in front here to distribute. See, there's nothing there. So I can just keep the 5 plus n. But there's a negative here, so I need to take the opposite of 2n. The opposite of positive 2n is negative 2n. Then I need to take the opposite of negative 7. The opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. So we can see with subtraction, this gets really, really tricky. We have to be careful. Now we're going to box our terms. So I have a positive 5 and a positive 7. When I add those together, I get 12. Then I have a positive n and a negative 2n. So now I have to think. They have different signs, so I subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1, and I keep the negative. So my answer is 12 minus n, or you could see this written as negative n plus 12. Remember, we're focusing on each term. So the 12 is positive, and the n is negative. So either way could be written. They're both correct. All right, let's look at this one. Now this one's got a lot going on. It's got this 3 which needs to be distributed, and it has subtraction over here. So let's start by distributing the 3. 3 times c is 3c. 3 times 7 is 21. Bring down the addition sign. Bring down the minus c. Now we're going to box our terms. 3c minus c is 2c. I can't do anything with that 21, so I just bring it down. Okay, so this gets tricky. You have to be really careful. Let's try just a few more. Okay, again, parentheses. Parentheses are like big red flag warnings. Why are you there? That's what you should always be saying. Why are you there? Sometimes they're there, but we don't need them. So this is where we really have to start to figure out, when do we need them? When are they just there? All right, so the 4q, I don't have to worry about him. There's nothing in front of him. But this negative needs to be distributed. So the opposite of q is negative q. The opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. Then I need to combine my two like terms. 4q minus 1q is 3q minus 4. Okay, we'll try just one more. So again, notice the negative or subtraction sign is where these get really tricky. So when you see that negative sign, just slow down. Think about, why are you there? Why are there parentheses there? What am I going to do? So nothing in front of the 5c to distribute, so I just bring it down. Then I'm going to distribute the negative to the 4c, so minus 4c. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. The opposite of negative c is positive c. So we can see that that could have been tricky if we weren't careful. So 5c minus 4c is 1c, plus one more c is 2c. 8 plus 2 is positive. Okay, so it's starting to get difficult. We can see that when we get the variables in there and the parentheses and the negatives, there's a lot to keep track of. So practice some problems, take your time, ask for help if you're struggling, and I will see you next time.